Hey, welcome back to the Rundown. This is the Wednesday edition of the Rundown, the Hump Day edition of Rundown, Hump Day edition of Rundown. My name is Mike Piwowarski. I will be your host today, but I do not do this program by myself.
No, you do not, sir. I will be your co-host today, and I will be we'll call it the second hump on the hump day hump camel.
We'll have two
Hump
humps,
day
not
camel.
one.
Two humps, not one. Anyway, I'll be joining you today, and we'll be talking about all the 2A news and conservative views that you can handle.
Here on Hump
Hump
Day.
day, because
How many times we could say it? Let's see. There'll be a contest at the end of the program. How many times did we say Hump Day? Wait, I shouldn't have told them that up front. Damn it. Never mind. Contest over. You lost. Sorry. It's 4, the answer, by the way. Hey, Craig, I noticed there. I don't know if you could pop yourself back to full screen real quick before we get involved in too much of today's program. I see that you have a new accoutrement there in your studio.
well, now that California's assault weapons ban has been overturned, I just figured, just for nostalgia, because I'm hoping that I'll be able to actually turn it back to what it's supposed to be. But I figured I would let y'all see my Californicated AR-15. As you can see, it's got the little fin thingy on there. Now, this is the option 0, which actually includes a thing to hold an additional magazine in the back. So, that's kind of fun. It doesn't make up for, the paddle thingy. But overall, that's my Californicated AR-15.
I noticed you have a sign next to it that says "Come and take it." I think it'd be more accurate if it said "Come and take the rest of it."
Boom.
Come and take what's left.
Well, I will tell you now. This is something that was interesting. Was during the court case, Adam Kraut, who's the director of legal strategy for the Firearms Policy Coalition, actually went and shot with both a standard AR and a Californicated AR, and by the way, did just as well in just as much time. Those of us who learned how to work with bastardized firearms, we can get eye.
Listen, for a lawyer, Adam's got skills, yo. Let's
Yo.
just say that. So we'll go
Yeah,
there.
yes, he does. Yes, he does.
Craig, could you pop me up to full screen for a second there? So you've got a new addition there in your room. I want to point something out to the folks here. If you look right back over here in this area, there's a new bottle of Horse Soldier. So we got new additions here too. So just wanted to point that out.
As opposed to dog faced pony soldier.
Oh, we will get to that. We sure will. And Craig, there's actually a tie-in, which is why I bring it up. So.
Oh well, I'm definitely looking forward. I'm definitely looking forward when we get to that point of the show. So, Terrell, why don't we go ahead and why don't we get into the news?
Enough banter, folks. That's what he means. It's time to get down to business. Craig, we talked yesterday, this week, both days, I believe, so far, about the Judge Benitez there out of San Diego, who overturned California's 32-year ban, unconstitutional ban, mind you, on assault weapons. You have yours out. Judge Benitez clearly must have his out, and everybody else in California is about 27 days from jumping from joy, waiting for the injunction to take place, to the permanent injunction to take place. So, evidently, Craig, when a federal judge makes his mind up after, just seeing testimony from both sides, if you don't like what his opinion is, it's time to declare the judge is inept. He's unable to hold office. This is why we shouldn't have lifetime appointments for federal judges. Just everybody coming out of the woodwork here to tell us why this judge is no good, crooked, worthless, incompetent. All the things that people describe Joe Biden with.
Well, the interesting thing to me about this is that one of the things they cite is, there was a quote that was in the story where basically they're saying that he does the justice system. He harms the justice system by saying things that aren't true. And the fact is, some of the things that they cite that he says are in fact true. For example, he refers to the AR-15 as kind of a Swiss Army knife. Now, anybody who knows and understands the AR-15 knows that's exactly what it is. It literally is customizable to whomever wishes to use it. You can make it longer or shorter depending on your size or your stature. You can customize it to whether you want to use it for long range or long distance shooting or shorter distance shooting. All of the things you can do with the AR-15 to make it customizable, it literally is like Legos. And stuff like that. And then they go on to talk about how there's all of these mass shootings in California, and they cite these mass shootings, none of which included an AR-15. The funny part is, now here's the thing. So they point out that, AR-15s were used in 26% of the mass shootings. Well, guess what that means, Mike? That means that, 67% or 64%? No, not 74. 74%. Bad math. 74% of the mass shootings did not involve an AR-15.
Well, I know why you got some of that math wrong, Craig, because you have to give California a piece of it. So I understand that.
I'm used to giving them a piece. They get a chunk. They take out a chunk. So, but think about it. 74% of all mass shootings do not include AR-15s, and yet for some reason they want to say, what he said was wrong when he said they're not used in. And by the way, even in the ones where they are used, they're not the only firearm. And most of the times, instead of having a high capacity magazine or a standard capacity magazine or switching magazines, they just have another firearm, which is usually, by the way, a handgun.
Yeah, or extra mags, whatever it happens to be. Listen, you hear them talking about the number of firearms, the number of AR-15s used in mass shootings. And what's their number for mass shootings this week so far? It's 400 this year. I don't know where they come up with this. I think they're going to the range, Craig, and watching people shoot more than 2 targets. I think that's where they're coming up with their mass shootings formula.
Well, they're not using the federal definition of what a mass shooting is. They first of all, they include in their numbers gang and drug shootings involving gangs and drugs. Which, by the way, that's not a mass shooting. That is literally just crime.
Not that they're a good thing, but they also count murder-suicides. So that's a mass shooting. More than one person was shot. Right.
You shoot 3 people and then shoot yourself. Or, by the way, if the criminal is shot by law enforcement or by a person with a concealed carry permit, or by a bystander. Then they consider by the way, just so y'all know, yes, they do consider the person who actually was the shooter. They include them amongst the victims of gun violence.
Oh, yes. Well, that way they get their numbers, because you're talking about the difference between 3 people being a mass shooting and then not being a mass shooting at all. So
exactly.
That's how they get it. Well, that's Craig. It's amazing. Again, you're out there in California. We're 3 days into the ruling now. What was it? It was Monday, or late last week when it came out, and we hit it on Monday. So we're about 4 or 5 days into it. How do you think? When's the state going to react out there? When are we going to see them try and get a stay for this before this injunction takes place?
Well, the state of California, Bonta, our new attorney general, has already said that he is going to appeal the case, which we pretty much knew that. There's a reason why the judge put his own 30-day stay on it, because he knew that they were going to file for an appeal. And I'll tell you what, with the new makeup of the Ninth Circuit, thanks to Donald Trump, we have a halfway decent chance of getting a good ruling coming out of the Ninth Circuit. I'm not saying we have a great chance. I'm saying halfway decent. But if we do, then it'll wind up going en banc, which will go to an 11-judge panel, and then we'll have a real hard time. But it increases the likelihood that we'll have a chance to have this case heard by the Supreme Court. Now, the other thing to note is there are a lot of people out there who are encouraging the state of California not to appeal. And the reason why they're doing that is because they know that if this gets to the Supreme Court, the Supreme Court is likely going to decide in favor of gun owners, and then the whole entire country is going to have to deal with the consequences of it. So I think some of those politics are going to be played out in the middle of this as well.
Yeah. By the way, this is the hand and arm signal for the Supreme Court is going to break it off in that ass. So
I like
yeah,
it.
that's
I like it.
you're right. And there's many states attorneys general that are trying to keep this from being appealed and just telling California to suck it up, because the rest of the country, some states in the rest of the country get to
Well,
keep their assault weapons banned.
dude, that's exactly what happened in D.C. In
Yeah,
D.C., they basically made them shall issue, and D.C. wanted to fight it, and everyone else told them, don't do it, because this goes to the Supreme Court, and you lose, then everybody's going to be shall issue for concealed
yeah.
carry. So
I
yeah.
believe that California does appeal this because California believes they're bigger than the rest of the country, so they could do what they want and feel no repercussions.
So
So I,
I'm gonna give you a little theory that I had. So there's been this thing out here called Cal Exit, right? This group of folks, left wing liberals, who want to leave California and
right.
create their own nation. And you know what I keep telling my conservative friends? I keep saying, let them do it. Because see,
Yeah.
here's what we do, right? They leave. We leave California, and then all of us who have the guns, we pick okay, we're going to go back to the United States as
Yep.
New California. I mean,
Yep.
what are they going to do? We have all the guns.
Yeah. Exactly right. Yeah. It's a win-win situation. Is
It
what
would be a
is.
win-win situation. Exactly.
Yep. Yep. All right. Moving right along. We talked to you, I believe it was on Monday, about the Supreme Court possibly taking up the case of the selective service. Right now, selective service is males between 18 and 25 must register. Now you can register as early as, I think, 3 months before your 18th birthday. I believe it's also 35 states where it's automatic when you apply for your driver's license, you get it. So those of you out there in the last 15 states, you're the only ones that even realize you're still doing the sign up for selective service. Well, it was the ACLU member that filed the complaint that said this should be women also because women are allowed in combat. I'll tell you, and I think one of the things I forgot to mention to you before, women can be drafted right now. It's the medical draft, which applies to people, men and women, between the ages of 18 and I believe it's 45. If they have a medical profession that we go to war and our nation is short for those medical providers, they're getting drafted. I want you to think back to the TV show and the movie MASH. Those guys were, except for a couple of them, were all draftees. They were medical professionals brought into military service to provide care for our soldiers, sailors, airmen, Marines. That's still available. So women can be drafted under that provision. This time around, the Supreme Court took a look at it and said, no, there's nothing for us to do here. We're talking about men 18 to 25. We're not discriminating against all women. We're not discriminating, or we're not taking all men. We're taking a select few, and we believe that these are our top 1% of people capable of being our war fighters when we want them to. So the Supreme Court said, all right, done, moving right along.
And I'm okay with that. I honestly
Yeah.
am. As far as I'm concerned, to a certain degree, you have to leave it to the experts to make decisions, and that's really what they're doing. The military is no place for social engineering.
Correct.
These are folks who their job is to kill people and break things, and
Yep.
anyway. So I'm all for it. I have no issues with it. I would also have no issues if they were included in the draft. Once again, as long as the military experts are saying, yeah, that's the best thing, that's what we should be doing.
Right. Yeah. Again, yeah, if they come down tomorrow and say, listen, we're going to need to triple our expectations, so we're going to expand it, then they expand it. That's just what
Right.
happens. Right now, the military is satisfied in the case of the draft that they'll be able to get the pool of fine young military personnel they need from the men 18 to 25. So that's it. Hey, nothing says the woman can't go and
Right.
enlist right alongside the draftees.
Well,
Okay?
that's the other thing, is that they're not being discriminated against.
Correct.
Because they can't get in the military. You're just not going to be drafted.
Yeah. Exactly right. Exactly right. All right, let's move right along. Moving right along. Let's get into a little baseball. It's baseball. It's my favorite season, Craig. It's my favorite season. It's baseball season. Let's take a look here. Major League Players Union slams lawsuit. The Major League Players and the union slams lawsuit over the 2021 All-Star Game. Craig, you remember when we talked about the All-Star Game being moved from Atlanta to Denver? Do you remember that?
I most definitely do remember that.
Okay. Folks, what happened was the state of Georgia had an election, and one of the things that they pushed through were election reform laws.
Right.
These are you listen. I'm sorry, folks, if you think these were out of control. They weren't. This tightened up some loose ends. This tightened up, the ability to conduct fraudulent elections. All right, and
Or
Georgia's one
it
of the
made it
places where we
harder to
witnessed
conduct fraudulent
elections.
Right.
Go ahead.
Oh no, it made it harder. In many cases, it took things that were that were put in place that really weren't codified in law, and it codified them in law.
Yeah.
Voting boxes where you just drop off your ballots, those were not in law. They actually put them in law. They expanded the number of days and the number of hours voting. They just, it is just absolutely positively the weirdest thing where people just came out and then just, not only did they say that it wasn't fair, it wasn't right, but then they declared it to be racist, which made absolutely no sense. You even had the president of the United States come out and talk about how bad and how evil it was and how it was worse than Jim Crow, even though the state where he comes from, they have stricter voting laws. They don't have any early mail-in ballot days. They don't have any drop boxes for ballots. And then Major League Baseball decided, because they were under corporate pressure, they decided that they're going to, we're going to pull the All-Star game out of Atlanta, and then we're going to move it to Denver, a city which has, a state in Colorado which has more restrictive voting laws than the state of Georgia. And oh, by the way, Major League Baseball in New York, where they are, the state that they call home, also has more restrictive voting laws. But yet I don't see them packing up and moving.
No, absolutely not. Well, what happened is, many of the businesses there, many of the minority-owned businesses there, got together, formed a pack, and they stood to lose. They stand to lose $150 million in income. This is after the struggles of COVID. They stand to lose that amount of money. They got together, sued Major League Baseball Players Association, because it was between the Players Association and the commissioner's office that they decided to move. In the middle of the night, by the way, did not tell 22 of the teams this was going to happen. They just did their own collusion. Right. And made their own unilateral decision without telling anybody else and moved. Well, this is those individuals now fighting the lawsuit that's been filed by the pack of business owners. And Major League Baseball and the Players Union are like, no, this is not right. This is not fair. You can't do this. Well, listen, we know that the president of Georgia, Stacey Abrams, she was involved in this. She got caught being two-faced. She got caught publicly saying we want to keep it, and privately on her emails to the commissioner saying, get it out of here. We don't deserve it. So she's losing face. It's absolutely amazing. This is going everywhere, everything. And listen, I hope that Major League Baseball has got to pay $150 million to these store owners, or they have to bring it back. I think there's not enough. There's not a chance in hell they're going to bring it back. We're less than a month away, and that's way too much logistics and planning. But we'll see. Fingers crossed, and we hope the best for these business owners that got screwed based on being woke and all that nonsense.
Well, but what's worse is that you had the Players Union that called it frivolous, right? And then, $150 million taken out of the economy. It's not frivolous because in order to accommodate that, these business owners invested money in making sure that they had what they needed to have to be able to accommodate the people who are going to be coming for the All-Star game. They planned it, they prepared it, and they invested. And they're out money now because, quite frankly, because these guys decided to move it at the last minute. How dare you call something like this, which is having a real impact on real people, frivolous? Especially when you say, well, this is about promoting, diversity and equality and all of that. But you literally move it to one of the whitest cities in the country from one of the most diverse cities in the country. Now, don't get me wrong. I don't think you should base where you put the All-Star game based on anything like that. But it does show a level of hypocrisy based on what they say their motives were for moving
it. Hypocrisy. That's exactly the right word, because this was going to be a celebration of Black history in baseball, a celebration of Hank Aaron's life in one of the most densely populated African-American cities. So what do? They take that all the way up based because they say it's racist, the voting laws. So they take the ability away from the African Americans, the Black Americans there in Atlanta, to celebrate Hank Aaron, to celebrate the history from Jackie Robinson on, from previous to that with the Negro Leagues. They take away all of that because of racism and put it into White Town. I don't think they know what that word really means. I really don't think they do.
Pretty confident they have absolutely no idea what that word actually means.
Absolutely crazy. Yeah. All right, moving right along. Let's see. Continuing with a little bit of baseball here, and we've got some photos of this. I think we're going to try and put them up there for you. We'll find out. Craig, yesterday, actually, it was Monday night, was a weird day in baseball. A weird scheduling. Was originally planned to be the draft day. They decided to move draft day to the All-Star game weekend. So there was only supposed to be 2 games instead of the 15 that you normally see play during the day. There was a third game that was a makeup game between the National League Florida Marlins and the American League Boston Red Sox. That was a one-day makeup from a rainout, I believe it was. Well, during that game, a fan, I believe it was in the 4th inning, unrolled a sign out in center field that and hung it over the front edge of the bleachers there, and it said, Trump won. Trump won. Well, that took, I guess, the officials there about 5 minutes to get rid of it and throw the fan out that unrolled this banner that said Trump won. Now, the Red Sox, they put out a statement saying that we don't allow any banners to be put out at the Fenway Park. So there's no banners approved, no signage approved at Fenway Park. And Craig, and I think you have another photo I sent you that you can take. Yeah. So you see where that safe light sign is there. That's right where that fan would have rolled that sign out. So I guess it's not a matter of are signs allowed. It's just a matter of who approves the signs and what the message is. Because that clearly at Fenway Park, you're allowed to put signage out.
Oh, yeah, no, clearly, sir, that was a function of what the messaging was, and as long as they supported the messaging, because keep in mind, and here, I'll put it up for you again. If you look, there's something on that little, Black Lives Matter photo right there, or banner right there, and what is that? Is that the Major League Baseball logo?
That's exactly
what
it is.
And here's the thing. I literally just put this together. All right. Do you realize that they have the same exact initials? Like, it's reversed. It's like MLB and BLM. It's like it's like
I guess you're right.
It's like they're reversed.
Yeah.
Well, it just goes to show how backwards MLB is.
Yeah, and I want to say this, and I have stopped, Craig, watching football cold. Pro football. The only team that I would even watch would be, and I hate to say this because it's your team, was the Dallas Cowboys, because Jerry Jones stood up and said, "We're not doing that here. And if you kneel, you're not playing. You want to be an activist on your time, not on my time." And I respect Jerry Jones for that. But you can't watch anything with football anymore without seeing a message. Unfortunately, the Cowboys can't play the Cowboys. And Craig, just for the record, I think if the Cowboys played the Cowboys, they'd still lose. They'd find a way to lose to themselves. They would. Yeah. They really would.
Well, and by the way, just so everybody knows, I don't know that Jerry Jones is in particular in favor of or likes or dislikes BLM. His attitude is this: this is about football. We're here to do football. When you are on your time, you do what you want on your time. But this is about football, and you're supposed to be here working. And I don't want to say. All I know is this: is that as soon as we start sending out political messages, we're going to offend half the people.
Yes. Yep. Last year during the 2020 season, the shortened exhibition season, we saw that Major League Baseball put out a couple of BLM, posters and everything else. This year, it was left up to the teams, to the individual teams. I can tell you that my team, our owner said, we're not doing that because we're here for baseball. That's what we're here for. Baseball, right. Baseball. We're not here to divide our team and our fans. We're here to play baseball. The Boston Red Sox, on the other hand, have decided that they are going to jump into the fray
Mm-hmm.
and start with the woke movement. Now, I want to say this: that fan rolled down a sign that said Trump won. This is not BLM versus Trump. It's
Right.
not where we're going with this at all. To me, this is hypocritical to say we could share our opinion, but we don't respect your opinion at all. Whatever the opinion is. It could have been something completely different. This is not BLM versus Trump. Okay, that's not at
By
all
the
what
way,
this
and by the
is.
way, let us be clear: BLM is a political statement. It is. It
It
is
is
an
a political statement.
organization that is
Correct.
seeking policy changes
Right.
that have a drastically harmful impact on our country. So yes, it is a political statement. So when people say, "Well, that's just a," no, it is a political statement. So no, you don't get away with that. I'm not going to let you get away with that. At least
Right.
you too. If you want to get away with it, go somewhere else. You're not going to get it here.
Correct. So, and when the Red Sox say when they say that, listen, we don't allow people to have to put up banners. Well, they I think that's hypocritical that they put up their own. Is it a First Amendment violation? I've already been asked that. Listen, I have not had time to look and see if the Fenway Park or the Boston
Oh.
Red Sox have accepted any public funds, any bailout money, any COVID money. If they accepted any government money at all, then they can't hide under the we're a private ownership.
True. Okay.
Then,
Good point. Good point.
The First Amendment doesn't apply.
Good point. Excellent point. Excellent point.
So I have not had the chance to look that up. But again, I think this is hypocritical for them to say, our opinion matters, yours doesn't. I'm not talking about what the fight is, just that our opinion matters and yours doesn't. That's my point. Let's move right along here. Let's see. Oh boy, Craig, I know you love these two in such a way that you want to serve as their director of education, this education secretary, because you're the most qualified person in California, evidently, because you get it. Well, these two don't. Did you see the recent throwing under the bus of Joe Biden to Camila, whatever her name is, Harris?
Yes, it was. It was epic. It has been epic. It's first of all, the problem is that I don't know if he threw her under the bus or as much as there was a bus coming and he said so. He was going. He basically said something where he was going to go into the bus, and she's attempted to try and keep him from going under the bus, and got sucked under. I don't know, but it's like dumb follow. It's like Dumb and Dumber. It really is. Watching them work.
Basically, folks, President Biden was asked about the situation on the border with the illegals, with the conditions, the living conditions, and everything else. And his comment was, "Oh, that's the vice president's job. She's the one in charge of that." And then they go to her and they ask her, understand you're in charge of the crisis at the border. Have you been there yet? And rather than come up with an adult response, she says, "Well, I haven't been to Europe either." What? Did anybody ask you about Europe? By the way, is there an immigration crisis for the United States in Europe? Are we
No.
keeping anybody in
No.
cages? Remember the cages that Obama built? Are we keeping anybody down there in cages? Are they coming across the border from France and getting into New York? Is that happening? I didn't think so.
No,
She's
not
an idiot.
not
She's
not
an idiot.
unless they're terrorists.
She did.
Anyway,
But
but no, dude,
I get it.
It is beyond. It's like, look, she's never gone to the border, and here's, folks, here's the thing. She could very easily be talking to people who are, the head of Homeland Security, the head of the Border Patrol. She could easily be speaking to elected officials down there. But here's the thing. Ultimately, if you are not down there hearing the stories and seeing how this is impacting the people who live there on the border, who are seeing it every day, whose lives, whose property, all of which is being put at risk. You just don't know, and you don't really appreciate. I mean, well, let's put it this way: there are a lot of people out there who just don't appreciate just how many people there are millions. By the end of this year, there are going to be millions more people in this country who came in illegally. Now, that's not just a matter of, oh, well, we have more people in the country. These are people, we don't know who they are. We don't know where they came from. We don't know what their intentions are. We know nothing about them. right? We don't know what their medical history is. We know absolutely nothing. And that puts everybody, you, me, everybody at risk. And she hasn't even bothered to go. I mean, how do you not do that? How do you not go to the very front? First of all, they won't even admit it's a crisis. So,
No, in fact, the press release I saw the other day actually said it did get a lot of publicity. It said, "Stop coming to the border. You're not getting in."
well,
What? I'm
yeah,
sorry.
she did a thing in Guatemala, and she told them, if you're planning on coming to the border, don't come. You won't get in. But everything that you see says, yeah, you're going to get in. All you got to do, whether you, now here's the thing. If you go to the border, the designated places where you go to get in, you're not going to get in. But if you go and you hop a fence and you get into the country, if you don't get caught, you're in. If you get caught, they're going to hold you for a while, and then they're going to let you go and say, come back to court now, and you're in.
Yeah. Tag, you're it. We'll see you there. Yep.
But but it's like she's like, I'm just like, oh, sorry. No, she did have a caveat. She said, I believe you won't get in, which shows that she believes in fairy tales.
Crazy. Yeah. It was fun to watch the two of them doing the what? No. He said what? She said no. No.
Mm-hmm.
Listen, she's just trying to hide out in the bunker as long as she can until they
till they make her president.
Exactly right. Well, all right, Craig. Let's get off of these two and jump into our parting shot for Hump Day.
Our parting shot today is Mr. Fakey. Just in case you've never seen what a lying dog-faced pony soldier looks like, well,
I get, folks, for those of you that don't know, I guess it was last month or so that the president called somebody in the audience a lion dog-faced pony soldier. Now he said it more than once now. I guess he's got it on the brain. Lion dog-faced pony soldier on the brain. On one hand, we know that Dr. Fakey here is going to lie, and then he's going to put it in his emails, and then he's going to lie to you about his emails rather than delete them. That this guy is just, I told you this because although it's not the right advice, it's what we wanted you to do. So we just told you that was the right thing. He's Dr. Fakey. We know that. Now, on the other hand, President Biden has called somebody a lion, dog-faced pony soldier here recently. Lucky for you, I know what a lion, dog-faced pony soldier is. Now, it's a mixture of some old quotes from some John Wayne movies, but they all stem from one place. A lion, dog-faced pony soldier. Pony soldier is a cavalry soldier. Is a cavalryman that rode a horse, whether it was old school cavalry or modern cavalry riding a steel horse today. A dog-faced was what the cavalry soldiers called their Indian scouts that they used post-Civil War because of their darker complexion of the 100% American Indians. They said they were dog-faced. So but they also rode and became part of the cavalry unit. If you go to anybody that knows cavalry history and tradition in the military, a dog-faced pony soldier is paying homage to the cavalry scouts, the Indian scouts that rode with the U.S. Cav in the late 1800s.
Wow, no. Okay, so I have not heard that history before. Sounds pretty racist.
Well, they called them dog-faced. I mean, we call Marines leathernecks. No. Okay, let me clarify. I understanding history and military tradition and what you're talking about doesn't sound racist to me at all. I'm talking about under the new wokeness that Biden supposedly is a fan of. I don't see how calling someone of Native American descent dog-faced is not considered by them to be racist. Well, I'm not a Native American. I can't tell you what they think. I know that Native Americans don't object to the Florida Seminoles or the formerly Washington Redskins. Only white people seem to object to that.
Yeah, well, most of the wokeness is not about what offends people of color. It's about what white people, and that's the funniest part is that you literally have, and I've literally had white people tell me what I should be offended about. I'm just like, really?
frankly, I'm offended that you're not offended.
Well, there you go. There you go. There you go. All right, hey man, dude. Well, it's time. We're gonna be wrapping it up here real quick. Let the folks know about Feedback Friday.
Feedback Friday comes up on Fridays. That's where we give away, with your feedback, we have freebies to give away. We have an upper receiver from Gorilla Machining. It's 100% T7075 aluminum that goes onto your evil AR-15. And this is an 80% paperweight, also made of aluminum. And it happens to match perfectly with that upper receiver from Gorilla Machining, from Grid Defense. These guys are great sponsors. Make sure you support them. Check out the links. Go to their websites. Tell them you said hey.
See, wasn't that simple? Now, here's the other thing that you need to do. You need to make sure like, share, and subscribe. Like, share, and subscribe, folks. Feedback Friday required. Look, here's the deal. We're up in our game. We need more people commenting, right? We need 10 people commenting. So y'all need to invite your friends. You need to like our YouTube, like our Facebook. You need to subscribe. And by the way, just so you all know, the feedback, we're only looking at Facebook. So if you want to participate and you're not on Facebook, then what you need to do is you need to get our subscribers up to 100 on YouTube. Then we'll live stream on YouTube as well. We're not live stream, but we'll actually then follow the comments on YouTube as well. But we're not going to be able to do that. We're not going to do that until we get to 100 subscribers on our YouTube channel.
Yeah, do what Craig said.
I like that. You need to talk to my wife.
Yeah. It didn't work out for me last time. It didn't work out for me.
All right, folks. Hey, you take care. We'll talk to you tomorrow on Thirsty Thursday.
Like, share, subscribe. See you tomorrow.